Welcome to Joke Insurance, where we show you jokes from different comedians that are suspiciously similar and let you decide. Parallel thinking, coincidence, cryptomnesia. My name is Tarek, and joining me today is Drogheda resident comedian and actor, Joe Rooney. How are you today, Joe?
Yeah, I'm good. Just done a bit of yoga. I feel very uplifted and relaxed.
Awesome. So we've got spiritual Joe there, and also joining us is Dublin resident comedian, Allie O'Rourke. How are you, Allie?
I'm good. I just had a morning skate. I'm feeling very broken.
I feel a bit crappy then. You guys have outdone me with the exercise there. I've had 3 coffees. There is that. All right, so let's get cracking. You ready to watch some videos?
Yes,
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so here's the first one: Carlos Mencia and Bill Cosby.
He shows them every day how to pass that football, how to 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drop. He shows them how to throw the bomb, how to throw the out, how to throw the hook, how to throw the corner. He shows this little kid everything that he needs to know about how to be a great quarterback. He even moves from one city to the other so that kid could be in a better high school. Then that kid goes to college, and that man is still, every single game, that dad is right there, and he's in college getting better. He wins a Heisman Trophy. He ends up in the NFL. 5 years later, he ends up in the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl. He gets the MVP of the Super Bowl, and when the cameras come up to him and say, "You got anything to say to the camera?" "I love you, Mom." Ah! Ah!
2 years old, you say, "Get down, Dad, show you how to do it. Now you come at me, run through me." There, see, get back up now. See, you didn't do it right. Now come at me. See, now and you teach them. See, you say, "Now go attack that tree, bite it." Come on back, bite it again. You teach him all that. Tackle me, bam! And then soon he's bigger and he's stronger and he can hit you and you don't want him to hit you anymore. You say, "All right, son, turn him loose on high school." And he's running up and down the field, high school, touchdown, 800 touchdowns per game. You say, "Yes, that's my son." And he goes to the big college playing for a big school, 3 million students and 800,000 people in the stand. National TV, and he catches the ball and he doesn't even bother to get out of the way. He just runs over everybody for a TD and turn around and the camera's on him and you're looking and he says, "Hi, Mom."
Is this too close for comfort? Click the I button here and vote in the poll whether you think this is a case of joke theft or not. In-house comedians, we started on an easy one. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, it's very obvious. I mean, I guess Cosby kind of plays with it a little bit, and he's like, "Run into a tree," or whatever, adds a few little jokes. Well, yeah, plagiarism at its height.
Okay, we've got a definite thumbs down there from Joe. Allie, your thoughts?
Also, it's like, from a technical point of view, that joke is carried by cadence and stage persona. So to steal something that's basically such a carbon copy of a famous comedian is just mind-boggling. But like, Mencia is known for that crack. Like, he'd often like come into a green room after a gig and say to his openers, like, "That joke, I liked it, it's mine now," and that's then just walk off, like, just steal his opener's joke and just tell him he's stealing it. So he's just an asshole.
There you go. He's an asshole, and okay, we've heard it. It's official. So that's 2 thumbs down from the guest comedians. But let us know what you think. We started off on an easier one, so now we'll go into the next example. Trevor Noah from 2017, and then we wind back to 2016 to watch Russell Peters. Have a look.
The Russian language just sounds like someone's playing a vinyl backwards. That's all I hear. It sounds like someone took a DJ of English and they were just there like, "Yeah, yeah." He's just like, "Yes, yes. We go to find. Don't worry, Vlad. The guys got to be there 3 o'clock, okay? Yeah, yeah, bring the package. Don't worry about that. After that you find, you give me the call, okay? No, Vlad. Нет. Ведь ночь get вот на жет раджет, вот нигет на жет, вот ночь, овет ночь, вот зидночь, вот зиржит, вот get that. It ночь, bit not bit, a bit Russian. That's what I'm hearing.
I like listening to people speak Russian. You ever heard people speak Russian? It's amazing. They just sound like they're talking backwards the whole time. Vladimir,
Okay, again, click the little eye here and vote whether you think this is a case of joke theft or not. Allie, what about this one?
See, this one's a bit more complicated. They're very similar, but at the same time, like, as somebody who's a comic who's a minority, this happens. You're covering very similar material, and this kind of stuff happens. So this has repeatedly happened with Russell Peters and Trevor Noah. Like it, so there's a red flag there. But at the same time, it's very, like, I know I've been to gigs, like queer gigs or gigs where there's other trans comics, and we've both done very, very similar material, and we both definitely have come up with it independently. And you kind of tend to just go, okay, so that's the new hack. You know what I mean? Like, it's like trans hacking, you know what I mean? So you just kind of learn to move on, like, and do new material. But that one, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a bit more tight. I don't know what Joe thinks.
It's not even really as much a gag, so I can't say that it's, because it's really an idea. Oh, Russian sounds backwards, like backwards talking, and it doesn't work without a good way of presenting it, which they both do. One as DJ, one walking backwards. In other words, you have to play it out. It's not a gag. It's not a written gag. You can't read that and get it. You have to see it. And so I don't see how, I think it's something that a lot of people might have thought of as well. You listen to Russian and go, oh, it sounds like talking backwards, you know, but wouldn't have bothered to do it on stage. I wouldn't have thought how to present it on stage. So I'm not really, I can't say that that's plagiarism. I would say, and also I think Trevor Noah does more with it.
So is there any defense, do you think, if you do somebody else's joke, but you do it better?
You sometimes watch people do a gag and you go, oh, wow, you could really make that a lot better. Do you know what I mean? But you can't just do it.
It's generally understood in, say, music that, like, if you're doing a cover from another band, you've got to either be better or at least very different, you know, but also the credit still goes back to the original creators, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the same, really, because you don't do a gag on stage and go, you don't introduce and go, here's a gag that Trevor Noah did. It's like to, you know.
I think it'd be adding insult to injury by if somebody did a better version of my joke that they stole. I'd be like, no, you couldn't do, yeah, not only did you steal it, you had to make it better. Oh God. But I like the DJ premise of it, because, like, I feel like I heard that joke about Polish people on a building site at some stage. You know what I mean? I feel like that premise is not very unique. It's nearly like a street joke.
Guilty or not, Allie?
Thumbs up from me.
I'm gonna let it go. I'd let it slide. The repeat offense though makes it more of a, you know.
Okay, I'll just show you a clip now, just to muddy the waters a little bit more. Here is Russell Peters admitting that he stole a joke from another comedian. Have a look.
Thinking like, you stole before. I go, yeah, I stole once. I'll admit it. I stole fucking 22 years ago. I stole a joke.
What was the joke?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the joke?
I stole 8 words.
From who?
Gina Byrne.
And what was the joke?
My dad thought punani was a tropical fruit.
My dad thought punani was a tropical fruit. My dad went to the Jamaican store. Hey, lady, where's your punani? My son is at home sick. He needs punani right now. Give me 2.
Does that change anything? Could this be a case of people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones? Here's what Gina Byrne thinks herself.
What this fucker fails to mention is that he stole that material from me when I was starting out. I confronted him. He promised never to do it again.
All right,
You know what? What's really annoying, and that I can understand why she is annoyed, is because if a well-known comedian robs your material, everyone thinks you're doing their material, and so you look like the bad guy, and you're like, no, it's mine, but no one's going to know that. No one's going to hear you because you're not on a big stage.
Yeah, and that's what Gina Byrne said.
6 years later, I'm getting messages from his fans saying, why are you doing Russell Peters material? So he was still doing it, and it was on his stand-up specials, and he's got the fucking balls to be out here accusing other people of stealing material. Russell Peters, you're a cunt.
Thanks for your thoughts, Gina. You know, obviously we're all in Dublin, and, you know, you can quickly get a reputation if you're sort of like performing around the same places. But what if you're like, go overseas, hear a bunch of sort of like funny jokes, take notes, and then go back to a different country and start performing on your own? Is that okay, do you think?
No, it's not okay. Absolutely. It's not okay to, all right, go and do a gig in Lithuania and see a load of Lithuanian comedians. And then go, oh, no one's going to know who they are. And then go back to the UK or whatever. Start doing them. I mean, I don't know if that happens. I'm sure that does happen. I'm sure that does happen. And it's just not on. It's not.
I mean, Pedro Guerra, who I co-host a podcast with called Post Performance Pints, he told me a story once of a Portuguese comic, and they were about to go on stage, and he's like, I don't have any material. You know, I think I'm just going to do Dave Chappelle tonight. And this white guy goes out and just does Dave Chappelle's routine in Portuguese. It's just like, it's just laziness. And you think, like, in this day and age, you're going to get found out. The world is so much less monolingual and so connected with technology. People know if you're stealing. Like, I can imagine it happening years ago, but it just can't. It doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't fly, Ali, but some comedians, and you might even know one or two of them, just brazenly do it. Just say to the other act, I'm taking that. You can't do anything about it.
Have you ever had a joke stolen on you, Joe?
One guy was supporting me, and he used a routine that I use about joyriders and stuff. And he used the same make of car. So it was exactly the same. I really think sometimes it's just you watch something and then 2 weeks later you go, I've got this great idea.
Yeah. I think it happens all the time. It's probably, I don't know, I feel it's like how you go from there, you know, like, because somewhere along the line, you're going to realize that you got the material from someone else, you know, and it's kind of what
I don't know. I think people can steal jokes and convince themselves they didn't steal it, or like they just like take it on by osmosis.
You mentioned before about the taking material and then doing it in another language. Here is one from Gad Elmaleh and Jerry Seinfeld. So take a look.
Cette hôtesse de l'air, elle te fait des gestes, donc flou. Tu sais les gestes, mesures de sécurité, en cas de problème. Cas de problème. Elle-même, elle sait pas de quoi il s'agit, tu sais, genre. Quel problème, toi, tu vas galérer, toi aussi, moi aussi. Peut-être tu vas mourir, l'autre aussi, moi je vais rester, je sais pas. Ça veut dire quoi ces gestes? Tu te vois en plein crash aérien dire s'il vous plaît, c'est quoi les trucs comme ça, il faut faire quelque chose.
And they always point out the emergency exits. I'd like to know where the emergency exits are. You never have any idea. They always point them out with this very vague point. Where are these places? What is it? Just run as fast as you can. Just, I'm getting out before you're getting out. Just, you're dead, I'm gone. You think you'll remember that when the plane is at a 90-degree angle and your hair is on fire? You'll be running through that cabin. I think she said this way. Which was it? It was that way. It had to be this way. She was a southpaw. Does anybody remember? My hair is on fire.
Click the eye here and let us know what you think at home. Joe, what about that?
Pretty obviously plagiarism. But I mean, you know, you can imagine he thinks, I'm going to get away with this. None of these people are ever going to have watched Jerry Seinfeld.
They're French, yeah. So easy to fool.
I'd say that's happening all over. I'd say there's Russians doing and there's Chinese Jerry Seinfelds.
So you don't think that's a common enough premise? You couldn't give Gad the benefit of the doubt? We've all been on airlines. We've all thought how funny it is when they do the little point out the emergency exits. You couldn't let this one pass?
No, I can't let it pass because it's almost word for word. It's very simple.
And he's done it with several of Seinfeld's routine, as well as other famous comics from the 80s and the 90s. So, like, and they're all word for word. Like, he's a repeat offender of joke theft. Can you imagine how terrified he must have been whenever French networks announced that they were going to be, like, airing translated versions of Seinfeld? Gad is actually known as the Seinfeld of France.
Oh, yeah?
And he's actually good friends with Seinfeld and opened for him when Seinfeld did gigs in France.
Ah.
Okay. So you can't even use the line, I never heard of him. Who's this Seinfeld guy?
It's like the worst case of, can I borrow your homework? Yeah, but change it a bit so the teacher doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even bother. He just went, 1 for 1, it'll be grand. Isn't it so interesting, though, that for a lot of the time, the accusations of joke theft are observational comedy. Like, it's never, like, apart from the Mencia one we had today, where it's clearly theft because he's a dirty joke thief. That the rest are like experiences people, and there tend to be routines that aren't, as Joe saying, gags. They're not like set up punchline. They're act outs, and they're things that stage persona has to carry and stage person has to carry.
Thanks for joining us today, Joe and Allie. And Joe, where can people find you?
Well, I do a podcast called Rooney it's on Spotify, and I've talked to Allie on it. You know, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You won't find me in any comedy clubs for the next year.
Sold out, so that's why he's not in comedy clubs. Allie O'Rourke, what about you? What are you doing with yourself? Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Allie O'Rourke Comedian on nearly every social platform. You can find me at the Hysteria Network. We broadcast loads of shows, including Post Performance Pints, which is an interview-based podcast.
I'm doing the improv every Monday night with Dublin Comedy Improv on Zoom. You'll find the link in any of the Dublin Comedy Improv.
Yeah, and you also put the links in the description down here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us at home. Just before I let you go, Joe and Allie, do you have joke insurance?
Yeah, of course. Don't you?
How do you get joke insurance?
It's easy. It's if you're a comedian at any level, you just subscribe to this channel and that's it. You're insured. Anyone does some of your material in the future, send it in and we'll put it up. We'll make a video about it.
Ah, cool.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time.